and these are almost identical, you guys. The only thing that I see is that the welcome back to my channel. If you're new or an oldie, welcome back to the channel. I am super excited because today we're going to be talking about everything about the Amrezy and ABH collaboration, as well as a comparison with all of their eyeshadow palettes. I have majority of the ABH eyeshadow palette, so I'm going to be comparing them and kind of giving you my personal thoughts and opinion. And all of these freaking launches is happening so fast, one after another, especially ABH. I know this has been super overwhelming for you guys, so I want to just talk about it, chit chat with you. So let's get right into it, comparing these babies. If you're into that, stay tuned. Make sure you guys subscribe to not miss any further video. We post Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, so let's get right into it. Okay, you guys, so here I have majority of the eyeshadow palettes from ABH, and I just want to take you down a memory lane from like the oldest to the newest palette. I do not own everything, but I'm just going to show you the one that I do have, which is almost majority of them. So we're going to start Modern Renaissance, which this was launched in May 2016, somewhere around May. This is a beautiful soft glam palette. It's super pretty. Look at all the different shades. This does contain shades from shimmer to matte, and it's one of the best formula from ABH palettes, to be honest, in my opinion. After the Modern Renaissance was launched, the Subculture palette back in 2017, which I do not have that palette, you guys. I believe that one was discontinued just because of the quality was so bad. Right next comes up the palette Prism, which it comes in this velvet finish. As it's all black, it says Prism right here by ABH. Then once you open it up, this is the palette. It was launched in October 15, 2017. The colors are definitely more darker, but very glam. Again, you have your pop-off color right here. You have your basic black. Super cute. And this was one of the last eyeshadow palettes in 2017, I believe. If I'm mistaken, you guys should correct me underneath because I just couldn't find more information, and just because these are the only ones that I have. So next up we have Soft Glam. This was launched in March 2018, but it was leaked in January, so way ahead of time. This is just a beautiful soft glam palette, very soft, as you can see it here. This is one of my favorite formulas also. This is the same formula as their Modern Renaissance. It has the same package of velvety finish as the rest of them. Next up we have the palette Norvina. This has a velvety finish as well with a purple finish. This was launched in July 2018. Another beautiful soft glam palette. The Norvina's favorite. If you guys don't know who Norvina is, that is the president of Anastasia Beverly Hills, which is the brand. Her real name is Claudia Suarez, but she's best known as Norvina, and this was one of her palette with her most used or favorite eyeshadows. So here's that. As you can see, these has majority of shimmery, and it's also a super pretty palette, and it works really well. Next up to that comes the Riviera palette, and this is when we start getting more color from the ABH brand. So here we have the Riviera palette, which was launched in March 4, 2019. This definitely has more color, more pink, and again it has a lot of shimmers right here. Also another beautiful palette. It doesn't have a black, as you can see here, but it's super stunning. I love the variety. The packaging has a little different finish as of the velvety finish that the other ones have. It has some texture, but it's more like if you was touching jeans, maybe, I don't know. Next up to that comes the Alyssa Edwards, which was in collaboration with an amazing drag queen, which is called Alyssa Edwards, and this is a beautiful stunning palette that was launched in May 2019. Again, we're seeing here more colorful and more mattes, and we also have a basic black as well. It's just a beautiful palette. I did use this. I do have a few looks with it, so I make sure to link it here. Another beautiful palette, and here we have a different matte, a different slick finish of ABH palettes. We literally started getting away from all of the velvety finish in 2019 for sure. Next up to that, we have one of the most beautiful collaborations with JackieAina. This was launched in August 2019. 2019, I feel like that's when they started heavily just launching palette after palette. This just became super overwhelming, especially by the end of it. It was just too many palettes, boom in collaboration with JackieAina, which is a beautiful influencer here on YouTube as well as on Instagram. This is some of her favorites and most go-to shadows that she absolutely loves, and I really love this palette, you guys. The quality is beautiful. I did a few looks with him. I'll make sure to link it as well. And the packaging, you guys, is just so stunning because it has this beautiful finish to it, and you could definitely see the texture, how it looks. It's just such a pretty, and then it has a different reflex once you start moving the palette around. Next up to that one, we have the next collaboration that came right after that is the Carli Bybel palette. I love Carli Bybel, you guys. She's a beautiful influencer as well. And this was launched October 7th, 2019. Again, we had so many launches on 2019 that was so overwhelming, but these were some of her favorite eyeshadows. Super, super cute, you guys. I love the shades. They work really well as well. I did a few look with this palette, so if you guys are interested on that, I'll make sure to link it also. And the finish of this was super, super cute. I love the whole details, and you can actually feel these this little bubbles thingy here. First launch of 2020, and is the Amrezy eyeshadow palette in collaboration with ABH. This is her third collaboration with a brand. She actually did a palette, one of the first palette ever in collaboration with ABH, which was something that wasn't really done back in the days. I think it was 2016. I cannot remember. Very, very long ago. A beautiful palette she created, and now she launched this one with a brand in January 14, 2020, which is today. I hope you guys get to see it today. But here you have a variety of shimmers, matte, as well as pressed glitters, and I love how everything was just like placed. To be honest, I feel like something that hasn't been talked about a lot is the way they do in the color story. So basically the way this is formatted is by fours. You have a color story for every fourth shadow. Basically here you have a color story. You know, it makes a lot of sense when you look at it that way. They don't speak on that a lot, but it's a beautiful format that they do, and I love the color story of this palette. And the quality of this palette is basically their signature and best-selling formula that you find on the Soft Glam that I showed you guys, as well as the Modern Renaissance. So if you have the Modern Renaissance and you love that quality, the formula of the eyeshadows, you're gonna definitely love this because it's that same formula. And as you can see, one of the first difference that you see on this palette is that the palette is definitely bigger. You have 2 extra shades compared to the rest of the other palettes. This one has 16 different shades. I'm not bad about it, because if you're paying $49 for a palette like this, you definitely want a little bit more, you know what I mean? And you're definitely getting the best formula that ABH has. It's very pretty, it's very girly. I feel like if you're somebody that's girly, you love pink, you looks like soft glams, and you love Amrezy, you're definitely gonna love this palette. But we're gonna get to the nitty-gritty right now and show you guys the difference between all of the other palettes and swatches and things like that. So here's an overview and comparison of the Carli Bybel palette and the new Amrezy palette. Let me know in the comments which 2 shades you think look the most alike here, because I just don't see it, but it just doesn't have a lot of similarity. This one I think is the least that looks like it, so put this away. Next, you're looking at Amrezy palette and Alyssa Edwards palette. Here's the difference, and let me know in the comments again which 2 you think look the most alike. We have the black, just a black, basic black shade. And then we have this one right here, which kind of looks like this. But let's go ahead and swatch it and show you guys how these look side by side. I'm gonna swatch BBDC, and then here I'm gonna swatch Hugo. And by the way, you guys, this is gonna be super quick. I don't want to make this video too long, and I have to go through a lot of palettes, so they're just different shades. They don't look like it. So another palette that's off the charts. Next, we have the palette JackieAina. And again, I want to know which shades you think look the most alike. Again, I feel like every palette does have like a purple and has like this pink shimmery look and a gold shimmery, regular basic creased shade and all of that. So the first one that we're gonna swatch here is mainly these, because these are the one that looks like this one, and then maybe this one right here. This is the shade OG. Then we have the shade New Yorker. And now let's go ahead and swatch the JackieAina palette. We're gonna swatch the shade Ginger. This is way deeper and way cooler than these 2 right here. Again, this is JackieAina and this is Amrezy palette. But of course, let me know what you guys think and your thoughts in regards to how similar they look. Next, we have the shade Credit in JackieAina's palette, which looks like this. And then we're gonna swatch right next to that one, Amrezy shade 1998. As you can see, this is way richer than this one. This is more cool tone in my opinion, but definitely very, very similar, you guys. Like, wow, these are similar, like literally so close to each other, the JackieAina and the Amrezy palette. So here is that. Next, we're gonna move on to the palette Riviera, and here's an overview on how they compare, how they look. Let me know in the comments which shade you think looks the most similar. Again, I just can see already like this one and the brown one. Other than that, no other shade looks like it. And I'm also gonna compare this one right here and this one. This one I can see it myself that it's way darker. So again, we're gonna swatch Palm from Riviera palette, and from Amrezy palette we're gonna swatch 1998. And here you can see the difference with it. And I'm also gonna swatch right next to it the Amrezy palette, the shade Hugo. just so you guys can see the difference. Next, from the palette Riviera, we're gonna swatch the shade State. These shades, you can barely see it on me because too close to my skin tone. Moving on, we're gonna swatch the shade Wasted from the Amrezy palette. So this one is a lot way lighter and has a lot more shimmer in it than this one right here, than the Riviera palette shade. But here's a closer look so you guys can see how each shadow looks right next to each other, and let me know if you think they look super similar. And I'm also gonna go ahead and swatch the shade Jet from the Riviera palette so you guys can see this gold. And from the Amrezy palette, I'm gonna go ahead and swatch the shade Georgina, which is a lot more darker, so you can see completely different shades, you guys. Okay, moving on. Now we're up to the Norvina palette in comparison with Amrezy palette. Take a nice look because we're gonna be swatching some of this baby to see how they compare. So right off the bat, again, I'm gonna be swatching the brown ones because those are the most likely that look kind of alike. We're also gonna be swatching these right here, as well as the little purples because this has a lot of pink and purple. It's very similar to Norvina and Amrezy. You guys know they're best friends. I feel like they have a lot in common. So first, I'm gonna go ahead and swatch the shade Eccentric from the Norvina palette, and right next to that, I'm gonna go ahead and swatch the shade New Yorker from Amrezy palette. And as you can see, this one is more deeper and darker, and this one is like lighter and orangier. Again, this is the Norvina palette, and this is the Amrezy palette. I'm also gonna go ahead and swatch OG just to see how it looks right next to these two. OG from Amrezy palette, and I feel like this has more peachy undertones to it. Again, very similar, just different hues, I guess. Next, I'm gonna go ahead and swatch the shade Dazzling from the Norvina right here. Right after that, I'm gonna go ahead and swatch the shade Georgina from the Amrezy palette. You can definitely see the difference there. And then I'm gonna go back to the Norvina palette and swatch the shade Summer, just so you guys can see how these go compare. And I'm also gonna swatch Wild Child from Norvina palette. And right next to that, I'm gonna go ahead and swatch the shade Barbs from Amrezy palette, just so you guys can see the difference. And I'm also going to be swatching the shade Anastasia from the Amrezy palette. Okay, I definitely feel like these two has more similarity to it than this one. So from the Norvina palette, that was similar to the Amrezy palette is this one, Anastasia. But these are all of the shades that I feel like it has more similarity to each other, you guys. Other than that, everything else is very different. And now moving on to Soft Glam palette. Again, you guys remember that every palette has a color story. So each quad basically has a color story. So you can either use this, like that, or here, or like this, in case you guys didn't know. But take a good look and let me know in the comments which one you think look the most similar. Now let's go ahead and swatch obviously the ones that you can see right off the bat. So the most obvious one is the black, so I'm gonna do the Soft Glam palette Noir, the shade Noir, and I really like this black, you guys. It's so creamy and so soft, and it's very black. And now going into the black shade from the Amrezy palette, I still like Soft Glam palette black. It looks so much better. It has so much pigment payoff as well. I'm gonna go ahead and swatch the shade Cyprus Amber from the Soft palette, and from the Amrezy palette, I'm gonna go ahead and swatch the shade Yugo. As you can see, the Amrezy palette, the dark shade has a lot more purple in it, like I mentioned. Now from the palette Soft Glam, we're gonna swatch Mulberry, and then from the Amrezy palette, we're gonna swatch 1998. As you can see, the browns are very different, you guys. We're gonna swatch OG from the Amrezy palette, and right next to that, I'm gonna swatch Burnt Orange from the Soft Glam palette. This has more orange. The Amrezy palette has more orange in it than the Soft Glam palette. And I'm also gonna swatch the shade Sienna, which is definitely way too dark, and it doesn't look like anything on the palette of the Amrezy palette. But I'm just gonna go ahead and swatch the shade OG so you guys can have a nice peace of mind. But here are all of the shades that I think look most likely like each other in the matte section. Now let's go ahead and swatch the shade Bronze in the Soft Glam palette, as well as the shade Dragon from the Amrezy palette. This one is definitely way warmer and orangier. I'm gonna swatch the shade Gemini from the Amrezy palette, which is a pressed glitter, and again, it just don't look anything like it. They might appear like they look alike, but once you swatch them, it's a completely different story, you guys. I 100% I'm telling you, like, just by looking at it, you're not gonna be able to tell if they compare to each other, because once you swatch them, it's just completely different. So these are some of the shades that look most likely to each other in my opinion, you guys. And I'm also gonna swatch the shade Rose Pink from the Soft Glam palette, and then from the Amrezy palette I'm gonna swatch the shade Anastasia. Again, you see they look similar, but they're not at all, you guys. These are some of the most similarity that I found from the Amrezy and Soft Glam palette. Like they look almost alike, you guys, but not at all. In the Soft Glam I like the black better than this one. Now moving on to palette Prism, and here's a quick overview side by side on how they look. Let me know in the comments which one you think looks the most similar. I'm thinking this one and this one. We're gonna swatch the brown ones right here, which I'm sure it's not gonna look alike, and then of course we have to do the black just to see how similar they are. So of course we're gonna start with the black ones from Prism palette. I don't like how that swatch, to be honest. And then we're gonna take BK from Amrezy palette. We're gonna do a second swatch just to see. Can you see the different texture, you guys? This is going on so powdery, the Prism palette, versus the Amrezy palette. It's like soft swatch with no leftovers, no powderiness. Wow, these are like, this is really bad. That Prism palette black is just weird. But next to that, we're gonna go ahead and swatch now the brown shade. So I'm gonna take the Prism Parallel shade, and from the Amrezy palette I'm gonna take 1998. Very similar, but this one is way like softer for some reason. The Prism palette has more cool tone than the Amrezy palette, and these are the only matte shade that look the closest, you guys, to each other. So now let's go ahead and swatch some gold. So I'm gonna take Prism Eternal shade, which looks like that, and then from Amrezy I'm gonna take the shade Dragon, which looks a little bit more fiery. I'm also gonna be testing out the shade Smith first right here, but this is the Prism palette. And now we're gonna go ahead and take the shade Georgina from the Amrezy palette. Again, not alike at all, and these are the only shades that I found most similarity to each other in the Amrezy palette versus the Prism palette by ABH. Again, you guys, they look almost alike, but once you swatch the shades, it's just completely different. Let me know in the comments which one you think I missed. Moving on to the ones that you all been waiting for is the Modern Renaissance palette. This one is super old, you guys. This has a lot of matte shades, which I think is why people love it so much. Here's a comparison between the Amrezy and the Modern Renaissance palette. And again, you guys, these do have the same formula. I really love this formula. It's like one of the best ones, to be honest. And we're gonna be swatching the most obvious shades, from the browns to the burgundies ones that look more purpley, but we're gonna be swatching a lot of mattes here. So let me know in the comments which one you think looks the most similar to. So the first shade that looks the most similar is Burnt Orange, of course. I'm gonna go ahead and swatch Burnt Orange from Modern Renaissance, and I'm gonna compare this to the shade OG in the Amrezy palette. So let's see. So the Modern Renaissance is more softer, a little bit cooler, and the Amrezy is a little bit more orangey. Next, we're gonna swatch Raw Sienna from the Modern Renaissance palette, and from Amrezy palette we're gonna swatch the shade New Yorker. The Amrezy palettes are way more orangey than the Modern Renaissance palette. I'm also gonna go ahead and swatch Love Letter from the Modern Renaissance palette, and I'm gonna compare this to the Amrezy shade Senza. This is the shade from the Amrezy palette Senza, and these are almost identical, you guys. The only thing that I see is that the Modern Renaissance palette looks more opaque and more like, and has more pink in it than the Amrezy palette, which has more purple. It's very similar. We also going to be swatching the shade Velveteen Red from the Modern Renaissance palette, so you guys can see it next to each other. And that one doesn't even swatch that well. But as you can see, this one is definitely way more burgundy, and this is from the Modern Renaissance palette. Next, we're going to swatch the Red Ochre from the Modern Renaissance palette, and we're going to compare that to the shade 1998 from the Amrezy palette. So the Amrezy palette is way darker than the Modern Renaissance browns, but I'm also going to compare that to the shade Cyprus Umber on the Modern Renaissance palette just to see how it looks next to each other. So this one is way deeper and way cooler tone on the Modern Renaissance, and this is 1998 from Amrezy palette, which is a little bit warmer. I'm also going to go ahead and swatch the shade Tempera from the Modern Renaissance, as well as the shade Wasted from the Amrezy palette. So these are super pretty and very light, but the Modern Renaissance is just a very bone looking color, and then this one is like a pretty light pink from the Amrezy palette. I'm telling you guys, the Amrezy palette is very, very girly in my opinion. But these are all of the shades that I was able to compare to the Amrezy palette and the Modern Renaissance Anastasia Beverly Hills palette. These are the most alike shades. But honestly, you guys, in none of the palettes you have like a straight up like similar. The most similar ones that I could tell you is these two, and even that has like different undertones because one has more pink and the other one has more purple. So like nothing is exactly the same. Even the shades right here that could potentially be exactly the same, they're very, very different undertones. Like one is more orangey, one is more red, one is more like cool tone and things like that. So nothing is pretty much the same. Of course there's similarity, and as you can see, the Amrezy palette has a lot more shimmers than the Modern Renaissance. It has 2 extra shadows as well. So just wanted to show you the comparison, and in case you guys were interested in seeing how all of the shades like compare to each other, were wondering like, damn, are they just selling to sell? Like what the hell's going on? Why there's so many launches? I don't have anything bad to say about it, but I do 100% believe that you were able to find these shades in any other palette, or if you are somebody that already has a lot of palettes, you're definitely able to find these shades in your wardrobe already. You don't really have to go ahead and spend a whole amount of money. You don't really need another eyeshadow palette, to be honest, but if you do have the money, I highly recommend it because it does work. But in 2020, I be aware of their financial, you guys. Don't really need to be spending that much money on a freaking eyeshadow palette. You're probably not even going to finish it by the time that another palette comes out. Like, you don't necessarily need this, but of course, if you want it, I highly recommend it because it works well. Really take care of your financial status. Like, don't be out here trying to be on a trend just because the palettes are launching after palette. It's unnecessary, and you're able to find it in a cheaper version as well. But other than that, you guys, I hope you enjoy it. Let me know in the comments down below what was your favorite part of this video, and if you would like to see more videos like this, just let me know because I got you, you know what I mean? I'll see you guys on my next video. Make sure to follow me on Instagram to keep updated with everything. So yeah, see you guys on the next one. Bye.